Hello, BookTube. Well, it's that melancholy moment. It's the last mail haul of the week. There are only 2 packages, but there's also the new TLS, the Times Literary Supplement, the greatest literary journal, review journal, anywhere in the English-speaking world. And it's always fun to go through the new TLS. I won't drag you through every word of it, but it's always fun to go through it for a couple of reasons. One, the first one, of course, is to see who's writing about what. Especially since I have skin in the game. There will be books in here that I have got, that I have read, maybe that I've written about. The first thing I do when I get a new TLS is flip all the way to the back, to the About the Contributors section, to see if anybody I hate has a review in the TLS, because that it's wrong to come across that. It's bad to come across that without warning, and it has occasionally ruined an issue for me where I just don't read any of the rest of it. But this one's clean, and it starts off with a review by the mighty Ferdinand Mount, who reviews a book called by Donald Sassoon called The Anxious Triumph, A Global History of Capitalism from 1860 to 1914. And that's put out by Alan Lane. I don't think that book has an American version yet. I think I would have noticed. And now I'm eager for it. I haven't read any of these reviews yet, but there's a review. The next page has a review of Our Man by George Packer, which is about it's an odd and wonderful biography of Richard Holbrooke. That I read and loved. If I remember, I'll leave a link to it down below. But it's going to be interesting to see. The TLS is kind of the last word on things like this. And then, of course, as you're paging along, you get to the letters page. And the letters page can be lots of fun. I know it doesn't sound like the letters page of a literary journal could be lots of fun, but it actually can be. And I noticed the big section in the middle of this letters page is all about Salvator Mundi. The TLS recently did an article on a painting that has recently been reattributed to Leonardo da Vinci. And, of course, that is still incredibly controversial. And sure enough, there are letters about it. What is one of them? Martin Kemp, writes in, and he is one of the world's foremost Leonardo da Vinci experts, and also the author of a couple of truly fantastic Leonardo books, including one that came out this year that is not for everybody. I think it's like $1 million or something. It's incredibly expensive, but it was really good. What does he have to say? Federico Varesi's perceptive essay on Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, the jungle of the art market, gives the impression that I rely almost entirely on an exaggerated kind of connoisseurship, what I prefer to call judgment by eye. I have argued consistently that we need employ all the tools available: documentation, patronage, provenance, iconography, scientific analysis of all kinds, and, in Leonardo's case, recognize his special science of art. We need to calibrate the often limited scope of the various kinds of evidence to be far clearer about how we handle the absence of key data. I sense a haymaker coming on here. There are 2 obvious mistakes. Okay. Varese quotes Ben Lewis in The Last Leonardo saying that, quote, unlike every other picture that Leonardo is widely recognized to have executed, there is no documentary evidence that his hand ever painted the Salvator, close quote. This is incorrect. Of the 20 or so accepted paintings, there is no such evidence for at least 8 of them. As it happens, the Salvator appears as, quote, Christ in the manner of God the Father, close quote, in the list of paintings owned by Salai, Leonardo's rascally pupil, 6 years after the master's death. We should also note that the Salvator is not painted on canvas, but on a walnut board. All these matters and more will be fully reviewed in the book on the painting by Robert Simon, Margaret Dalival, and me, to be published by Oxford University Press in October. Okay, so he weighed in on the book and got a plug-in for his own work. Interesting, very interesting. Although you have to wonder, I mean, the guy's dead long since, but you have to wonder how Salai must feel about constantly being referred to as a rascally, beautiful 18-year-old when he had more of a life than that. Of course, in literature and in history, he is forever a rascally, beautiful 18-year-old who Leonardo da Vinci fell in love with. Okay, there's a long article on Peter Pan. That's going to be great to read. Long article on children's books. A review of a book about children. A couple more reviews of things that I don't recognize. Alexander Nurnberg writes about Quixote by Salman Rushdie, and the cover has a blurb by that. Alan Nurnberg, and the cover says Salman Rushdie's Triumph. So I'm assuming that he liked the book. Okay, there's an appreciation of Night and Day by Virginia Woolf. I wonder if that's an adaptation of the introduction to the new Restless Books edition that came out. Whole page devoted to 2 new books on D.H. Lawrence. I don't skip anything in the TLS, but I'll be tempted. Let's see here. Okay, Michaela Clements writes a book called writes an essay called "The Slow Clean: Baths in 20th Century Literature." Oh, how I miss baths! How I miss them. I'm not poo-pooing the conveniences of the modern world, but I miss a bathtub, a genuine bathtub. The little trough at the bottom of the shower in most apartments these days isn't worth the name of a bathtub. You can't recline in it, much less submerge in it. I know it's wasteful, and it's also impractical. A shower will get you much cleaner, much faster, but still, reading in the tub, oh, I miss it. I miss it. Okay, what else have we got here? Adam Mars Jones doing a movie review. I love reading him, but it always feels like a waste of talent for one of the greatest book reviewers in the world today to write about movies. Somebody reviewing the new Ben Hecht biography. I didn't review it, but it's a little late for the TLS. Someone doing a roundup of new books on postcards. Okay, a little review on mescaline. There's a long, full-page review of a new biography of Friedrich Hebel, who was an author and poet, a German author and poet. This is definitely not out in English yet. Oh, it's 800 pages long, but it's only published in German, and it probably won't get an English translation ever. Maybe in the UK, but not in America. He's not known in America. As far as I know, he's never had any wide-scale American editions, so it would be pointless for any publisher to do it. Maybe Harvard or Oxford or something like that. The German publisher is Wallstein, and I don't know if they have any kind of reciprocal relationship with any big American publisher. Probably not. So if it's bothering me, a year from now, I'll probably just have to plot for the German edition, maybe hope for a paperback. Oh God! All right, then Philip Salmon does a 2-page article on the current state of Brexit, and that is it. Plus NB, the NB section in the back, which is always funny. It's always broken into little articles. They sparked controversy of their own just recently that made it into the letters page. I wonder if they'll do it again. But that's great. That looks like a really meaty issue, so I'll dig right in. But then there's the mail, and there's only 2 packages. No boxes. And I don't know that we're going to get anything else today. I'm pretty sure this is it. So, we'll make do. We'll make do. Let's see. Here's this first one. Oh, okay. All right, great. This is a September book, I'm sure. Yes, this is the finished copy of Coventry, a collection of essays by Rachel Cusk, that I think we saw an advance copy. The pub sheet has only blurbs, but the book will tell me about itself. Rachel Cusk redrew the boundaries of fiction with the Outline trilogy, 3 literary masterpieces. Virtually every single noun claim in that sentence is wrong. Lauded for the precision of her prose and the quality of her insight. Not by me, and that's all that counts. Cusk is a writer of uncommon brilliance. Now, in Coventry, she gathers a selection of her non-fiction writings that both offers new insight into the themes at the heart of her fiction. Here, those themes are listed as motherhood, marriage, freedom, feminism, and art. I would have thought they were the freedom to be lazy, derivative, and sort of cheesy. But I guess she was dealing with different freedoms. And forges a startling critical voice in response to some of our most urgent personal, social, and artistic questions. Okay. Well, I did not read the advance copy of Coventry that I got. Instead, I sent it off immediately to a reviewer. So I'm glad to have this. It's possible. I mean, Rachel Cusk would not be the first person whose fiction is atrocious, whose essays appeal to me. So I'll give it a try. That's great. And then we have the second and the last package. This is one of these great big boat things that are stamped in vacuum, sort of conveyor belts on here. What is this? Oh, it's another spy book. Good Lord, this year has seen some... I mean, we're only in September. I shouldn't say only in September. The year is closing in on being over. There have been a lot of spy books in 2019. I wonder if some key archives were opened last year, and that accounts for this. We might have seen this already. I confess I don't really remember it. I remember seeing it in catalogs. I don't remember if I actually nattered on about it to you. It is, of course, a September book. It's by Matthew Avery Sutton, and it's called Double Crossed: The Missionaries Who Spied for the United States During the Second World War, hence Double Crossed. I think we did see this before. This is ringing a bell. Although, despite the irresistible pull of that pun in the title, no book should ever be called Double Crossed. There should be a moratorium on it. Let's see here. In his essay in Life magazine after the end of World War II, William Donovan, founder of the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, highlighted how his organization had used hard work and old-fashioned virtue to contribute to the Allied victory. He boasted that his officers were good, patriotic, respectable Americans and not the liars, cheats, and scoundrels many people at the time associated with the craft of spyship. The OSS was comprised of everyday professionals, Donovan assured the American people, recruited from universities, commercial businesses, law firms, and labor organizations. But there was one group of people Donovan intentionally left out of this description who had played a substantial role in wartime intelligence gathering. Dozens of missionaries, priests, and religious activists, at least one rabbi, worked for the OSS. Okay, great. Well, I don't remember whether I got an advance copy of this. The description sounds familiar, but I go all over to read about forthcoming books, so I might not have seen it. And Matthew Avery Sutton is the Edward R. Meyer Distinguished Professor of History at Washington State University. And he lives in Pullman, Washington. Okay, great. Well, these are both September books, so they immediately go on the list. I am trying to behave better about getting September books read before I go foraging afield. A couple of things have broken my resolve, but so it's only 2 books plus the TLS. That's fine by me. I'm up to my eyeballs in books, and I have a huge amount of writing to do. So a 20-book mail haul would actually, I'd smile, but I'd be crying on the inside. So great, and these are both nonfiction. Okay, fantastic. So I will dispose of the detritus and then get to work. So I will wrap this up for now, but I will see you soon. Thank you, Book 2.